Our teacher, Master Xuanhua, said, "This is 救国妙药, the wonderful medicine that saves the nation." In a world where, mind you, hold that for 2 more slides. The Buddha said we live in 3 worlds at once. We live in a material world. The material world begins with the body, certainly. We have my vehicles, my degrees, my bank account, my email address, right? These are all part of the material world. Everybody's got a body. Part of the material world. If we only define ourselves by our material identity, for example, here's my dad, he's a banker. Or, ever since I lost my job, I felt insecure. My identity was challenged by the pink slip that I got, right? Then we've got a narrower definition than the one available to us through the Dharma. 2, we live at the same time in a relational world. All of us sitting here in our chairs are children of parents. We are citizens of a country. Many of us are brothers and sisters of siblings. We're all students of parents, students of teachers. Some of us are teachers of students. We may be spouses of spouses. We're friends of friends, right? Right this minute, sitting in your chair, we're in the center of this web of relationships. The Buddha's idea was the relational world that we live in only requires us to wake up into it, to suddenly on the spot enrich our moment, enrich our lives from moment to moment. For example, if one has had thoughts of suicide, and that's a harsh thing to toss out in the air, but where I live, in the Bay Area of Northern California, we have this little town called Saratoga down near Santa Cruz, between Santa Cruz and Silicon Valley. And it's largely populated by wealthy folks who live in Silicon Valley, many of them Chinese, many of them from Taiwan. The culture of Taiwanese parents got pressed onto them was, you must succeed. We had in Saratoga High School 3 suicides 2 years ago of graduating seniors who couldn't handle the pressure. This is largely my community in terms of ministry, right? So I found this teaching on the world of relationships that we can live into and wake up to be very valuable. You can only kill yourself if you feel alienated, cut off, abandoned by, apart from this web of relationships. Somebody who sees and lives into the notion that every action immediately touches siblings, parents, grandparents, friends, teachers, etc. It's harder to make an isolated decision that then somehow rips yourself out of the fabric. So the Buddha said we are indeed, at this moment, alive in that relational world. How interesting. All right, number 3. At this moment, sitting in our chairs, we have these material identities, we have these relational identities. At the same time, the Buddha said we're alive in this thing called the Zheng Jue Shijian. The first, by the way, is called Qi Shijian, the world of things, material. The next is called the Zhong Sheng Shijian, the world of relationships, living beings. The third is called the world of awakening, Zheng Jue Shijian. In that world, we are alive with our invisible stuff going on. Sense of humor. Does it have weight and color? Nope. Does anybody want to live without it? Nope. We got it, but you can't point to it. It's there. What about sense of ethical commitment? Saying, I'm going to do this because I should. Again, completely invisible, but who would want to be without it? What about the ability to imagine? Imagination. Again, part of the world of awakening. What about kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy? equanimity, what are called the four Brahma Viharas, the four heavenly states that the Buddha said we all have. These are all part of that world of awakening. So, to be able to wake up into these three worlds, suddenly the ethical dimensions of my meditative practice take on kind of pulsing quality. It makes the moment rich as a result of the meditation, waking up into these worlds. So, here we go.